Hello everybody, and welcome to this part 3 video of how to make a platformer game in GDevelop 5. Now, before I get into this, I do apologize for any background noise. I usually record these at nighttime, but I just haven't had the chance really. So if you guys hear anything in the background, I do apologize for that. So let's get started into this video. Okay, so I've attempted to record this video several times, and with that said, I've added some new objects to our scene. So this will be more or less not much of a follow along. Okay, ignore that message up there. So more or less you follow me type of video. Okay, so in the, let's see, okay, so from the last video, or this video rather, I added enemies. I added these little blue walls. Yep, and that's it. I've added some logic in the events page as well. So let's see how this runs when we press play. You can see our turtle is quite slow. You also need to be pushed down further, but he goes over to the left side, hits the left side, and turns around and goes back. And he keeps going until he reaches the right end, and he touches that. And I'll flip around and do the same thing. Okay, and that's what we want in our game. And as you can see, we can jump around and we can collect these balls. We unfortunately cannot get back up here because that's the result of terrible game design. Okay, and we also included that when you jump on an enemy, they go away. Okay, so let's check this out in the logic. Alright, so in the previous videos, again, if you guys didn't check those out, please go ahead and check those videos out first and then head here. We created a player that collided with the ball. It gave us one extra point to our balls collected global variable, and we deleted the ball from the scene. And then we set the text to the balls collected number, so each time that collision occurs, it updates. So down here, I set up a new group called enemy1. If you guys want to do that, you can go up and hit this plus here and go to group, and set up some sub events for this topic here. So I did a check to see if the player is colliding with the enemy. But we also want to make sure the player is falling, and by what that means is when you jump, as you're falling down, that means you're falling. So this this condition is true when I'm falling and I also touch him. So when that point is true, delete the object enemy1. Okay, so you want to make sure you do that. So the text variable direction, right? So text variables, a text of the variable rather. That's one thing we also didn't do in the last video. So what you want to do is open up the enemy1, go into edit object variables. So like global variables, we have scene variables or object variables, and in this one we decided to create a direction and call it left. This means our enemy will go left first. These are kind of like orders. We just order them to go left. So we'll do that. We'll set his variable to left. Okay. And if we go back into the logic, we can see that we can read this as if the text of a variable direction of enemy 1 is left, which is true at this moment, we want to add a force to them. So if you go up into, if you click it and you go to common movement, add a force angle, or you can even search it up here. You want to make sure you have your enemy selected. You want to put 180. 180 is your enemy straight. There's no like strange angles. And speed is how fast you want them to go. Let me show you why this needs to be 180. Let me just do 250 or something and press play. And as you can see, he starts going up instead of left. And we definitely do not want that. Maybe that's something you want in your game. Yeah, that's not what we want. So what we want to do is change this to 180. And now he starts going left. Okay. So now we need to, and if you still haven't done these yet, make your enemy and make this one. It's called invisible wall left, and this one's called invisible wall right. These absolutely need to be two separate objects. They can't be the same object, or you're going to have some bad problems. Okay. And this is pretty much just a blue square that I just resized. Okay. And this could be anywhere you want, as long as it's sitting somewhere on the platform. It could be sitting off the platform. It just, as long as it's the space in which you want your enemy to go back and forth on. So we want to check to see if, since he's going left, we want to check to see if he's colliding with the left wall. So if the enemy is in collision with invisible wall left, set his direction variable to right. And then we have this object flipper here. So let me just go here. And to get to modify the text of a variable, we go to common object, common actions, head down to variables, and modify the text of a variable of an object. And you can also search that into the search bar. I'm going to set the object to enemy 1 direction is equal to right in double quotes. Okay, so he hits the wall, the variable becomes right, and he flips him over. In order to do the flip, you want to go into sprite, effects, flip the object horizontally, and you just want to say enemy 1 activate flipping yes. Okay, and press OK. So now here's the roles. It's very, very similar to the ones up here. I just practically copied and pasted them over and just changed the text just very slightly. So now we want to check to see if the enemy is going right, if we're telling them to go right. If it is right, which at this point it is, because of that, we're going to add a force, just like up here. So if you want, you can literally just copy and paste this here. You go to add action, press paste, you can paste it. And 0 is the other direction, the right direction. And again, we don't want to make this anything different unless you want to make them go into some strange angle. And that's also the speed here. So he's going to go into that direction, and then he's going to collide with the invisible wall right, which is the same exact code here, but just different values. And once we collide with the wall right, we want to change them to the left variable, in the direction variable. And then here's something interesting. We add a flip horizontally. If we don't put this here, he will remain flipped here. So what we want to do is activate the flipping, and then we want to just hit no this time. Okay, and that's all I put up right now. So this is the game. You fall on them. And yep, bad level design there. Okay, so let me just fix things up a little bit. Maybe this will work. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, that's horrible. Okay. Boom. Alright, we got them. And we've completed the level. So, let's say we want to do... okay, so we want to... So we call these invisible for a reason, and when we play our game, you can see that they're not invisible. So let's make those invisible. So we'll put this into the main area. Let's create a new... No, not quite a new event, but we can just bring it over. And we're actually, you know what? Let's just put it here underneath this automatic run code here. We'll add action, and let me see if it's under here. Not really sure where it's at, but I'm just going to search it up. So we're going to write opacity, and it's change objects opacity. And we want to change the opacity of the invisible wall left is equal to 0. Press OK, and let's press play. Now you can't see this wall at all, but yet it's still there somewhere. And he'll still collide with it. Okay, there you go. Okay, he'll still collide with it. You just can't see it. And we'll do the same thing. We're just going to copy and paste this line here. Just make everything so much quicker. And press play, and there's no more walls. So this is our hitbox. When this happens, that's our hitbox colliding with the platform. I don't know if that's the desired effect you want, but you can fix that. So right now, the enemy, we can kill the enemy, but if the enemy collides with us, we can't. We don't die from that. So let's create a new one. Let's just copy and paste this down here. So this is saying, where this one up here is saying collides with the enemy, but it's also falling, we want to just check to see what happens when the player is being collided with the enemy. This is usually a bad thing. So we want to oftentimes lose a life, or simply do a game over or something like that, you know what I mean? I will put lives in the game, but that's going to be for another video. So let's create a new scene. In this scene, we're going to call it game over. I want to open up. Scene properties can be whatever you want. So I'm just going to put a black screen. I'm going to create a new text display. Let's say game over text. And we'll say game over. And we'll set this on 80. Bold. Apply for that. And we'll drag them over here. So this is actually starting to look a lot like the game over screen in Kids Adventure. So Kids Adventure is a platformer game that I've been working on for quite some time now, and I'm close to completion. But I'm gonna make sure for you guys, if you guys want to make a similar game, to you guys will be able to understand what I did in order to accomplish those tasks. Okay, so press enter to main menu or something like that. So press enter to start over. We'll just make it a little bit bigger, and I'll drag this in just like that. Let's just press play to see how it looks. It looks okay. Pressing enter does not do anything yet because we haven't added those events just yet. So again, set a new group. I'm going to close out this properties panel here, and I'm just going to call it main. Okay, and so our game over is going to be much like the main scene. So we're going to actually copy and paste some stuff here. So I'm going to say copy the return key over into game over. So I'm going to go to add a sub event and paste that. And when the return key is pressed, we're going to press we're going to change it to, we could go to level 1, but I'm going to make it go back to main scene. Yeah. Hit enter and then enter start again, and there you go. There is your basic platformer. We didn't add any of that in yet, so okay. So let's go back into level 1 events, and we want to change the scene to game over. Press OK. Now let's play our game. He now, let's pretend he had no lives left, and now he just simply failed. But we collide with him while falling, and he is defeated. Whoa, I'm not too good at this. And 3. Okay, so what I can do is I can actually you can do a check to see if all 3 balls have been collected, and move on to level 2. Stay tuned. So let's get down to part 4. Thanks for watching.